Great decorating is all about the details, including a gorgeous textured set of coasters. How we love a coaster. Functional. And why not be beautiful? Quince has a gorgeous set of woven rattan coasters in 3 terrific colors with their own little holder that you're going to absolutely love. And if you haven't visited quince.com/DTT yet, get on over there. It's everyday elevated living without the markup. From crisp 100% linen bedding and soft organic cotton towels to airy curtains and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And the best part? Like Quince's clothing, their home goods are half the cost of similar brands. By partnering with top artisans, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT.
Are you in the mood? Hi, I'm Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks.
Our decorating is classic and timeless, as is our advice. So today we're sharing a classic DTT episode from the archives with you.
Add a touch of romance to your home. And we've talked about this a lot, Kelly. I think this is something that we both really like to do, is make our homes romantic.
Yeah, but romantic has a broad brush stroke in my house. I don't really do a lot of frills, which people might traditionally think is romantic. So the stereotypical romantic things, I think that you can have a touch of romance in a lot of ways, and maybe some ways people haven't thought of that we're going to talk about today.
Well, and I'm thinking about when somebody does something romantic for you, this is really about your house romancing you.
Oh, that's nice.
See? Yeah, because to me, the romance is about making somebody feel loved and special. And so what we're talking about today is doing things to your home so that your home makes everyone that comes into your house feel loved and special. Doesn't that sound nice?
Well put. We're each going to go through some particular items and some general ideas about how you can do this and how it's really easy to add the romance. And you maybe, this is a good time of the year, of course, but maybe you're craving this at any time of the year. As Anita said, if your house can make you feel special and loved, well, that's certainly a decorating style to strive for.
Would you like to start, Kelly?
One that's sort of obvious, but let's kick off with it. I want to explain something to you about these. Candles. Now, you wouldn't say, oh, wow, Kelly, thanks so much for that tip. I'm adding romance, candles. But here's the thing.
It seems like an obvious one.
Seems obvious.
It does.
But here's the thing. I am going to, excuse the pun, shed some light on how to choose non-toxic candles. Because the last thing you want to do is add some toxic fumes to your home, because that is not adding romance. Okay. So I find that when I shop for candles, there are so many candles out there. How do you know? And there are so many claims out there. And how do you know? People are allowed to say certain things about their candles, but you have to dig a little deeper to know whether or not you're getting the good stuff. So since I'm kicking off with candles, we're going to get a little lesson in choosing non-toxic candles. So what are you going to look for? One of the first things you need to look for is the wick, which is not something I've ever would have thought about. Your wick needs to be 100% cotton or wood. Cherry wood wicks are particularly good because they don't create that sooty residue. Sometimes you're burning a candle and it gets all black on the inside.
You can also cut them shorter, and that helps
Right. No, very good. You were reading my mind. The wick is also not good if it's too long,
right,
or if it's too short. So if it's too long, you're going to get that extra burn, and that's not so good. And if it's too short, it doesn't have the opportunity to release the fragrance, and also might just extinguish itself. Now, metal wicks are really not so great. Several years ago, they were not so great because guess what they had in them? Lead.
Ugh.
Not good, right? But that was been outlawed. So supposedly that's not going on anymore. But I would just stay away from metal wicks if you can. So now if you're buying a candle from a company that's going the distance and having 100% cotton or a wood wick, they're going to tell you that. So you'll probably be able to read that on the package. The next thing you're going to look for is the wax, the type of wax. Paraffin and petroleum waxes produce chemicals. You do not want either one of those. And you also don't want a blend because the blends sometimes have paraffin in them. So you want to choose a clean burning soy wax or beeswax and make sure it says 100%. And then lastly, the fragrance. Now, apparently there are not very stringent rules on what candle companies have to say about fragrance. They can just say fragrance. So then how do you know? So you want to look for 100% naturally derived essential oils and phthalate free. I think I'm saying that right. And then you'll know that your fragrance is really going to be non-toxic. And I have an example of a candle company that's doing just that. It's actually one out of California. It's called Pure Plant Home, and they have lots of really delicious sounding scents. One that I like is ginger vanilla coconut. And for a 6 ounce, you get a 40-hour burn for only $20. So that's a candle that you will know will be non-toxic in your house.
Wow. Well, thanks for the education. And I think it's just the way it is these days. You really have to read labels. You've got to know what's in things because there's so many unhealthy ingredients and so many things that you're buying for your house and your home and for your body. There's plenty of healthy alternatives. So do read those labels and on the candles. Absolutely.
Leave it to me to take the romance out of buying a candle.
I was going to say that was not a
lot
romantic
of information.
chat, but thank you
But
for that.
honestly, you don't want to have toxic candles. That's not romantic.
Okay. Well, let's go on to something romantic for the bedroom.
Oh, okay.
I have found some beautiful velvet bedding, duvet cover, pillows. These are at Ballard Designs, and I'll include a link to them. But I just think there's nothing more luxurious than having velvet bedding and on your bed. I just think it's so beautiful. And if you were trying to save money, you don't have to buy the duvet cover. You can just get a pillow or two. And if you don't like the ones I'm sharing here, you can always get a velvet pillow somewhere else. But this bedding comes in a kind of a light gray or a cornflower blue. So it's really beautiful. Just solid color. So you could mix in whatever you wanted with it.
Okay, so talking about bedroom things, I have a bedroom thing too. How about vintage sheets?
Oh,
now,
yes.
I know I'm talking to the choir here saying this to Anita, but if you haven't experienced vintage sheets, and I'm not really talking about the kind that I might pick up at the Rose Bowl by diving in a box or something like that. And you're like, oh, that has a stain on it, but we can work around it. No, these are going to be pristine and perfect. They are vintage sheets. You can use them as intended. You can use them to toss over a sofa or a chair. You can use them as a tablecloth. Each one of them is different. Each one of them has some stitching, and each one of them does have a monogram. It's probably not going to be yours, but that would be amazing. And they run $149 for sheets that kind of range in size. It's vintage, so you're not going to be able to get the exact size.
You're not talking about the old homespun, really kind of thick ones. You're talking about newer ones that are just a very thin.
No,
one,
I'm
correct?
talking about ones from Paris flea markets, my dear.
Oh, yeah. But there's both there, right? So those are, and I have several of these that you're talking about that are very fine linen. They're thin and they're monogrammed. But here's the thing. If you find some like this and it does have stains or some problem with it, if you sew, you can cut off the monogram and make a gorgeous pillow.
Oh, yes, you can. But I think these are all going to be perfect in condition. Nice. So I'll put the link in the show notes to those. Are $149 each. Really romantic things because you're adding a little history and you're adding something that was once loved, maybe by the person with those initials and then maybe somebody else without those initials after them, probably been passed from hand to hand and now they're in your home. And that really will add a touch of romance.
Now, a lot of times these vintage and antique sheets are not going to have a standard size written on them, twin, full, king, California king. So but if you're buying them someplace online, for example, they usually have, let's say we're finding them on Etsy or eBay, for example. Usually the dimensions are there. So just check the dimensions and make sure they're going to work for your space. And I use these antique sheets sometimes like a coverlet on beds.
Right.
So
I like that idea. Yeah.
Right. So it just needs to cover the mattress down to your bed skirt. Or you can tuck it in, but it just needs to cover the mattress, not necessarily the foundation. And then the other thing I wanted to mention about these antique or, monogrammed French sheets is that they are not just for your bed. Sometimes they're quite nice to use on a table as well.
Right. Yeah. Tablecloth is great. Would just be darling. I'm picturing in a little girl's room, maybe if she has 2 twin beds, like you're set up, Anita, but with the 3 beds. I mean, most vintage sheets that you get, particularly the ones in the sizes, the link I'm going to put in the show notes, between 50 and 70 wide and 60 and 108 long, they would all be big enough to fit over a twin. Just so
True.
Darling.
Well, right. And I actually had vintage sheets on those beds at one point and just had the duvets folded up at the foot of the bed at one point. So I did exactly that in that room. And I think it's a beautiful look. So I'm so with you on that. I think that's a great idea. And my next idea is something that I think looks very cozy and romantic, but also is something that is useful to have. And that is a bathtub caddy. Do you have one of those on your tub?
I don't, because I don't really take baths.
Well, I didn't used to, but I've started doing them, taking baths maybe 6 months ago. And I'm thinking, where has this been all of my life? I've had the tub. I've always had a tub. I don't know why I wasn't, because it's so relaxing. And I have one of these in the tub. It's so nice because you can put a book in there. I
love the whole idea of it.
Oh,
and I
yeah,
have done it in the past, but I think ever since I have children, I've never done that.
Well, right. And then downstairs, that tub is not, we have a clawfoot tub downstairs I call it the powder room. Obviously it has a tub in it, but we don't use that one because there's no bedrooms down there. And I actually have the tray caddy down there, just because it looks charming, just to kind of look. It's just kind of cool to kind of look back there and go, oh, look at the tub tray. And there's a book in there. But no one's actually
Could you say that one more time?
What?
I did notice it when I was in there, Of course I took note of it. It's very romantic.
Oh, see.
And if I was a person that took baths, I would want to steal that and use it.
Yeah. So anyway, I think they look great. And you can put I'm not going to use it for my phone, but people sometimes do. Because I'm always afraid
I wouldn't do that either. Oops. Or the blow dryer. Bad idea.
Oh, no. And never.
I did not say you should do that. I said you shouldn't do it.
No, I mean, and yeah, well, correct. I mean, if you were to put your phone there, make sure it's not plugged in. But I wouldn't even put an plugged in phone because if it falls in the water, then you've ruined your phone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And if it's plugged in, then you've got a much worse problems.
You do. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's something that you shouldn't be having in the tub. And here's something some people would think you shouldn't have inside: fruit trees. I think bringing nature in is very romantic. Again, it's not necessarily your frilly type of ruffly, romantic, stereotypical thought. But don't you think bringing nature into your house is just so romantic? I do.
I love that idea.
Yeah. So we always talk about cut things and branches and flowers and whatnot. And we've talked about houseplants, but I don't think we've ever really talked about fruit trees. And particularly for people that are in a cold winter climate, this might be just the ticket. You're going to look for a dwarf variety. So you don't want something that's going to get gigantic and grow it really out of your pot. But you do want to start with a nice size pot. And you want to get a plant or a little tree that is a self-pollinator, because you don't want it to have other trees to, get the fruit going. And so a great choice for that is a Meyer lemon. Now, Meyer lemon, if people aren't familiar with it, is a very much deeper yellow lemon. It's sweeter. They seem a little squishier at the market. In fact, a couple of days ago, maybe by the time you listen to this, maybe a week or 10 days ago, I put a photo on my Instagram with some flowers and some Meyer lemons just sort of tossed on my dining room table. And I got so many comments on it, and there was a whole conversation started about Meyer lemons. Oh, I see them at the market, but they always look squishy, so I didn't buy them, but they're so pretty and they smell so good. And, people talking about how they use them and whatnot. So Meyer lemons are gorgeous. You do have to get them sort of right away because they ripen a little bit quicker in a bowl than regular lemons. But that would be an amazing dwarf variety fruit tree to bring inside. They do need a lot of light, so you need your sunniest window. And they do like to be, even though they grow here very well and they grow in other Mediterranean climates very well where it's drier, indoors, I think the thought is they like to be a little more humid. So you would probably mist them with one of those little plastic bottles with a spritzy on it, or a glass bottle with a spritzy on it. And the Meyers are good too because they take less heat to ripen. So I'm going to put a link to an article that I found with recipes for Meyer lemons, because so many people were asking about how do you use them. And there's a recipe in there for Meyer lemon risotto, which I just think looks so good.
I love the idea of bringing a fruit tree in. And I have to say, I had some friends over Saturday, and to make the house pretty, I got some crocus plants and some cyclamen plants for the tables, and the grape hyacinth bulbs for the kitchen. And not fruit trees, but I'm just saying having these live plants in the house was just so beautiful. And it just felt like such a luxurious thing to have these live plants in the house. And it just kind of just made me so happy. And, as we've said before, it's about the cost of a cut flowers, but they'll last a little bit longer. They won't last forever. But if you have some fruit trees like you're talking about, if you take care of them, they could last a long time. And you can get some fruit.
That could last a long time. Oh, with your bulbs, if you got the bulbs, you could take them and plant them outside.
Oh, I'm thinking about it. Yes, I think that's a great idea.
So how was your party? I forgot to ask you.
Well, it was wonderful. I had a tea party here for some friends in the neighborhood, and we had a great time.
Good for you.
But, I always start out saying, oh, I'm just going to serve, just one or two things. And, and if I'm doing it the next day, then maybe it is just one or two things. But the longer it is between when I say I'm having people over to when I actually have them, then it kind of doubles, triples, quadruples what I'm going to be serving. So I can't.
Yeah, well, you are
terrible.
So not a bag of chips girl, my friend. You cannot just open a bag of chips and pour them in a bowl. Like if you're gonna do it, you're gonna really do it. And I'm sure everyone can have an absolutely wonderful time. I found a candlestick. Now I know I did candles before, but that is candles, that you would have that would come in their own self jar or something like that. Now I'm talking about a taper candle holder. And I encourage everyone to do what I've been doing pretty much my whole adult life, is burn some candles every night at dinner. And it will definitely change the mood. And I mean, nothing does like candlelight, right? I mean, you put a candle on and it changes everything. It totally changes the mood. So anyway, the Emmett antique brass taper candle holder. Now they're selling them as a onesie, not a pair, but it's pretty inexpensive. $22.95 for the one. It's just about 12 inches tall.
Is it named after your Emmett?
It is named after my dog, clearly. And it has this really lovely classic shape, and then it's in this really nice warm gold finish. But the shape is not too ornate, so it also feels really modern. So I think it's a really, really nice taper to have. And if you don't have any, or you want to mix it in, I love mixing the metals all together, or even mixing metal with some crystal ones that I have. So you might want to take a look at this one. I'll put a link in the show notes to it. And then, of course, where do you go get your taper candles, ladies? Trader Joe's. So for under $3, you can get a whole bunch of candles and be very happy and change the mood.
And that is where I got all my plants, was Trader Joe's.
I'm sure you did.
Those grape hyacinth bulbs, they thought they were fake. They were so beautiful.
Wow. I don't know if mine has that. I haven't been there in about a week or so. I have
Oh
to go
my
get
goodness.
some more
It was a
doggy treats.
square
I'm
wooden planter, just crammed full of these bulbs. It was so beautiful.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
it's still blooming beautifully.
Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. So have you tried Dupe yet? If you haven't, come on, dupe.com. It is going to be your new shopping best friend. And it's not just for furniture. I know I've shared with you about my coffee table dupe, but you can save money with Dupe on fashion, shoes, jewelry, and more. I just used Dupe to find an absolute perfect twin of this t-shirt that I wanted. It was an $80 t-shirt. I was not going to pay $80 for a t-shirt. Dupe helped me find the twin, like maybe the exact same shirt. Find something you love, and then you can find replicas, twins, and maybe the exact thing for so much less. Give Dupe a try today. It is really so easy to use. You just type dupe.com / before any product URL in your browser, and voila, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account is required. No sign up is required. It is completely free. I know, can you believe it? But it is completely free to use. Stop wasting money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today.
So you're talking about candles and candlelight, and my next item, not candles, but fire, and that is a gel fuel tabletop fireplace. Just kind of like a bowl. And I guess
I've seen them for outside. Is it for outside?
Yeah, this is for outside. I wouldn't do this inside.
Don't take it don't put it on your bath caddy, please.
No. Well, I know it.
With your phone and your blow dryer.
No, put this outside. But your back porch. But that's a beautiful thing about these gel things, the tabletop fire bowls, is that you can put them on your table, on your back porch. You don't need to build this fire pit, out in your yard. But you can have this beautiful, you're really only going to enjoy it when it's lit. It's so romantic and beautiful. And you have the feeling of this, basically, it's like an outdoor fireplace, or a fire pit without the expense.
Is it big or
I don't know. The size of this one, I think I'm trying to think the one I picked. I think this one is maybe about 13, 14 inches in diameter.
Yeah,
so not
that sounds
super
right
big.
for the top of the table.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is making me think of my fireplace, and I have to update everyone. Remember, I was telling you about, I think I did it as a crush, that Crate and Barrel candle holder that I got that goes in the fireplace because my fireplace doesn't work. Do you remember me talking about that? Crickets. Do you remember? Who remembers? You said, did you say something? I didn't hear you.
I said yes.
I see people raising their hand out there. Okay, so, and then I told you I bought the glass shards to put in the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I finally did it. It looks really good. I'm so pleased with it.
Oh.
So, it's not.
Again, pictures, please.
I did. I took some pictures. It is not, a working fireplace, but I'm not sure I need a working fireplace because it's pretty hot here most of the time.
Yeah, but you have the fire going with the shards, right?
Well, it's not fire. I just have the candles in there.
Oh, okay.
Remember? Follow me. So I had the thing from Crate and Barrel.
I can't keep up with everything.
So I put the Crate and Barrel accordion-like expanding candle holder.
Oh, yes, I do remember.
And then I got the battery-operated on remote candle. So it takes 9 candles, I think, or 8 candles. And then I bought the glass shards that you would put into a fireplace instead of a log set or something like that, just like I have outside. And I just spread them on the bottom and then, just covered up the legs of the candle holder. And when I put the battery-operated candles on, the glass, because some of it's a little metallic on one side, it's reflecting the light everywhere. It's really great.
Nice. Okay. So I'd forgotten that it doesn't actually, you don't have like a gel pot in there.
Yeah, because it doesn't work and I can't have the fire inside it. And it was going to be some ridiculous amount of money to get it fixed. And we thought we really wouldn't ever use it. So it's a great solution for somebody's in the same spot that I am, or maybe even somebody who has their fireplace, it either doesn't work or you choose not to use it. Just take the log set out. and then replace it with this. Because if you have a log set and you never turn it on, it's just going to look dark and brown and black in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that sounds wonderful. So will you be sharing these pictures with us, or were they just to have on your phone?
They might have just been for my phone. Sometimes you just take a picture and you're like, oh, that looks so good. Maybe I'll put it on my Instagram story.
Yeah, there's talk of photos, but I rarely get to see them.
I send you texts with photos all the time.
It's
okay, you send me some party photos. I'll send you some fireplace photos. Okay, my fifth one is flowery, but it's something that will keep coming at least 6 times a year. Get yourself a subscription to Flower Magazine. Flower Magazine is gorgeous. I love it. I treated myself to a subscription this year after we did our magazine episode. Remember that one? That was good. We could link that in here if somebody missed it. We talked about some magazines that we really enjoy and that are still around, and Flower is one of them. It's just beautiful, and there's a lot of home decor in it. It isn't just about flowers or growing flowers or cutting flowers or designing flower arrangements.
Great idea. I mean, that would be nice. I've got to go look at that again. You'd really like that. Is it kind of a gardening book or more like floral arrangement?
No, that's what I'm saying. It really isn't gardening. It's when you read, their own description of themselves, it's home decor is the top line. Then it's about flowers. Then it's about flower design. Then it's about flower care and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Oh.
It's super pretty.
Oh, well, I'm sure it is. Okay.
And it's 6 times a year. And let me tell you how much it costs. Let's say it's not very expensive at all. 6 issues for $19.99 right now, 2 years for $29.99.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So my last item, I was thinking romance. What do you need in your house? I was kind of trying to think of, just since we just said we were going to each do 5, and I felt like I really needed crystal in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I came up with a crystal chandelier.
Yes.
So the one I came up with is called the Fraser Empire Chandelier with Crystals. And this is from Wayfair. I'll include the link. And it's not it's just kind of the one piece with the, it kind of makes a ball with the crystals. It doesn't have a bunch of stems sticking up, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. It kind of has the crystal shaped into kind of a ball. So it's the empire shape. And it's really beautiful. And I'm thinking you need a crystal chandelier, I think, at least someplace in your house, maybe if you don't have it in your foyer, I have one in my, do I say this? I have one in my closet.
I think you did just say it.
I did. Did I say that out loud?
I think we already knew you had like a desk in your closet and I don't know what else, a chair.
Yeah, stuff.
And,
clothes.
Perhaps some Kate Spade bags, things like that. Yeah. That's okay that you have a crystal chandelier. I think it's joyous. I would celebrate that. Yes. I would I got a lot of those, and you can get them all in different sizes. And yes, that's really a fun place to put a crystal chandelier. And if you think it doesn't go with sort of the rest of your house, or maybe whoever you live with is like, oh, I don't know about a crystal chandelier. Yeah, put one in your closet, put one in your powder room, one in a little spot where it will really make a big statement.
Well, that's right. That's what I was thinking too. If you don't want to, let's say you want to add a crystal chandelier, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, you can always go smaller and just put it in a small space like a bathroom or a closet or a hallway or something. And then also, if other people don't like crystal in your house, then again, if it's in your closet or your bathroom, maybe, won't be bothering other people. But I think it's a beautiful accent to have really any place in your house.
We have a question today
we didn't do our crushes yet.
Oh, crush. Go ahead. I have so many notes on my pages today. You go ahead. Go first.
Okay. I finally took the plunge and bought a sous vide.
Oh, so a sous vide, tell.
That is, if you don't know what it is, because not that long ago, I had no idea what it was. So the way it works is you take it's usually for cooking meats. So let's say you had a delicious steak, you put all your seasonings and oils or marinade, whatever, on the steak in a Ziploc bag or a sealable plastic bag, and then you put it in a pot of water. And then you attach this sous vide, which kind of looks like an immersion blender, but it kind of hooks on to the side of the pot or just a container. And then that heats the water and moves the water to cook the item, the steak or whatever, at a very slow temperature over a long period of time. So I cooked a leg of lamb, and it was in the sous vide for 24 hours.
Wow.
And then you might say
a leg of lamb. That's wow.
Yeah. So when
I'm
you might say, okay, but boiling, ew, that doesn't sound good. But what it does is it cooks everything. It basically is cooking and marinating at the same time. So the marinade really gets in there because you're cooking very slowly, and it's not going to overcook. So you don't have to worry about, when I put things in the oven, I'm worried about, did it dry out? Did I overcook it? Did I undercook it? And in here, you just know it, as long as it's cooked so much amount of time, it's going to be fine. And then for the finishing touch, you take it out and maybe pat it dry. And then you kind of saute it in maybe your iron skillet with some butter, and that does the browning on the outside, and then you're done.
Wow.
And I've tried several things. My family loves it. They said it's the most tender meat they've ever had.
I'm impressed. And don't they say that a lot of high-end restaurants sous vide everything and then they just sort of, grill it or broil it real quick or something?
However I don't know how else they could do this otherwise, because, you'll get chicken, you just ordered it 10 minutes ago and it's cooked and it's super tender. And then I would cook chicken at home and think, well, I've been cooking this as long as the restaurant, supposedly was. And mine is tough as can be, but this is the way they do it. It's cooked. And it's at temperature. And that's the other thing, is it's going to stay warm until you're ready for it. So the steak that we made the other night, it said cook for at least 45 minutes, but you can keep them in there for 4 hours. So it's just kind of ready when you are. But the other beautiful thing about the one I found, which is really cool, is it has an app for your phone. So you go on your phone. Now you can just use your own recipe and find your own recipe for a sous vide and say it's this temperature for this long. Or you can go in the app. There's a ton of recipes on there. And what I do is I usually find some piece of something similar, like a roast or lamb, something basically the same size as what I'm making. And then I put my own spices and herbs and, marinade on it that I choose. But then I choose that recipe on my phone, which connects with the sous vide. And I just say cook, and it turns my sous vide on for the correct amount of time at the correct temperature.
Wow.
I know. These things are getting so smart.
Now, where did you get something like that? Is it a big apparatus? Because I don't like a lot of big stuff.
No, that's what I'm saying. The sous vide is like the size of an immersion blender.
Oh, that's the whole thing.
Right. Now, I did buy a kind of a square container to do the sous vide in case I wanted to do a larger roast or something. But you can just use one of your pots or one of your pots, maybe one of your soup pots that you already have.
Wow. See, whenever I heard about this, I thought it was going to be like this gigantic, slow cooking sort of thing.
You can buy them, and they have the tub that goes with them, but I didn't do that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good to know.
So like I said, I bought this basically square plastic tub that you can fill up with water, and then you can, you could cook a lot more things in there if you wanted to, but you can just use a cooking pot, a stock pot if you prefer. And it just shows you the water, where the water level needs to be. And here's the beauty of it too. You don't ever have to clean the sous vide or your pot because it's just had water in it. And then your steak or whatever has been in a plastic bag, a Ziploc bag that you just throw out. So it's pretty easy cleanup. I mean, I know you're going to brown it, let's say in a skillet on the stove, but if it's just been in there for a few minutes and you have your pan seasoned correctly, it's not going to make a big mess. Whereas sometimes when I bake something for hours, I have to scrub and scrub to get them clean.
That's no fun.
Yeah. So anyway, I love it. And, I don't like a lot of gadgets because I think most of them, you end up buying them, you use them for a week and you're done. Yeah. But this, I can tell I've used it for a week and now I'm sold. I'll be using this every week.
Wow.
I know. It's great.
Impressive. Okay. So I have something different. It's a store. Maybe you've seen some of them. They have brick and mortar stores. It's called Muji. Muji. It's a Japanese store. There's one nearby me in a mall that we have not too far away. There's one on Newbury Street in Boston that I've been to as well. It is kind of a Japanese lifestyle store, and everything is very well made. The clothes tend to sort of the utilitarian, but I have to tell you, like, I have my absolute favorite pair of just sort of kicking around the house pants, the coziest pants, the yummiest fleecy inside, really nice, thick, lovely, comfy, well shaped. Sometimes you could get like sweatpants kind of thing that just look kind of baggy and dumpy. These look great. They have other cool things. I got a white linen shirt there around Christmas time when I was shopping. I got Peter some shorts there. And then they have all kinds of aroma diffusers. They have everything from napkins. I got some great linen napkins, sort of like an oatmeal and black striped that you could use. I'm using in the powder room, but you could use them for dish towels. So they have all things for the home as well as clothing. They also have bedding. It's a really cool store. I think you would really like it, Anita. Everything is very... I was
just looking.
Yeah.
There's not one in Texas.
Well, you guys are pretty hipsters there. I bet you're going to get one pretty soon in Houston. I think they're spreading all over the place, but you can also buy online.
Well, I hate to say it looks like it's West Coast and East Coast, and that's it.
Oh, well, maybe they're going to have to fill in the middle soon. So anyway, you can buy online. So I'll put the link to it's muji.us.store, I think. But I'll put the link in the show notes. I've gotten a lot of cool things there. And apparently they have a Valentine's Day gift guide that you could check out.
Well, great. Well, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so I jumped a little ahead, but now we're back to our question.
Yes.
So it was Jean H., and I sent Anita the photo because, that's how we had to decide what we were going to say about this. So I'll explain it. Anita, do you want to explain the question and how the photo looks?
Well, it looks like it's kind of a two-story room, and I can't remember. I think I don't know if there were stairs there, but
yeah. So I think it's on the landing of the stairs, but it's open. The staircase is open.
It's a very open. So there's a window that looks like it's hard to tell, but I'm going to guess maybe it's like 4 feet tall and maybe 2.5 feet wide. Mm-hmm. But it's way up on the wall. Mm-hmm. And so she's got a vase in the window, and she was wanting to know about what she should use for window treatments. Is that my
Yeah. So what do you do? It looks like it's a double sash rectangular window.
Well, it looks like a beautiful window, meaning there's lovely trim on it. Janine, I think you don't need any window treatment. I love seeing the bare windows without anything on them, but I use shades and things if I need them for privacy. And if it's so high up, I don't think you need it on that wall. So I would just leave it with nothing on it. What do you say, Kelly?
I think that's definitely a viable option. I think it's a very good option. If she wanted to put something on there, maybe, she feels like there's too much light or something like that, I would just go with a Roman flat sort of waterfall style, something really simple, and do it, inset it. So inside mount, and maybe just do it in a neutral. I wouldn't draw attention to it with a pattern or anything like that. So maybe just something very close to the color of the wall or the color of the trim. And if I was going to put something there, which I think Anita's option of not putting anything is very good, but if I was going to put a Roman there, I would do the top down, bottom up option, because you're probably not going to be moving it too much. So if you just wanted something, you wanted to add a little softness and some texture there with the fabric, then you could just have it halfway up or 3/4 of the way up, something like that. You wouldn't have to have it closed all the time or open all the time. But I don't think you really need anything either.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say. If you put something there, it's really not going to be practical unless it's remote control operated, because it looks like you'd have to get a ladder to raise or lower any shades.
Yeah. Or you'd have to have these long cords, which wouldn't look so great.
No. So just kind of think about that. So yeah, but it's a lovely window. So
yeah. And I would say, I know why you put the vase there, but I would, if you're not going to keep it, if you're not going to put a window treatment on there, I would take the vase down.
Well, I think you'd need to take it down either way. Even if you did put that up, right? You'd have to take it down.
No, I mean, if you put a window treatment, it would clearly have to come down. But if you did nothing, I would still take the vase down.
Yeah, I think I would too. Yes. I don't think you need it.
Yeah. I don't think it's doing anything to enhance the window. I wish I could see the rest of the room. I bet it's really pretty. So thank you so much for that question. I bet a lot of people have that kind of question. So it's, it's a window that's sort of in an odd spot. And so and it's kind of off to itself. So sometimes if privacy is not an issue, Anita's advice is the one to take. Just, you don't need to do anything. And think of all the money you just saved, and then you can go do something else. Go get yourself a sous vide or something with the money you saved on the shade. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We had a lot of fun. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.